Welcome back, deep divers. Today we're headed to Oslo, Norway in 1995.
Oh, this one is a good one.
Yeah, it's a case that's baffled investigators for decades. The death of Jennifer Fergate. Picture this. A luxury hotel, a woman found dead in her room. Sounds like a classic mystery, right?
It is, but this is where things take a turn.
Exactly. We've got witness statements, police reports, even some insights from a journalist who's dedicated years to this case.
And believe me, the more you dig, the more questions you have.
That's what makes it perfect for our deep dive. So let's start at the beginning. June 3rd, a Saturday evening at the Oslo Plaza Hotel. Our story starts on the 28th floor, room 2805 to be exact.
Where a maid discovers the body of a woman.
She's lying on the bed, fully dressed, a 9mm pistol in her hand, and a single gunshot wound to the head.
Open and shut case, right?
You'd think so, but here's where the puzzle pieces get jumbled. The gun is, well, how do I even describe it? It's clutched awkwardly.
Thumbs on the trigger, which is unusual.
And get this, despite blood everywhere in the room, her hand is spotless.
No blood, no gunshot residue. It's like,
Someone wiped it clean, maybe even placed it there after the fact.
it's possible.
But that's just the first layer of strange. When the police searched the room, there was no ID, no passport, nothing to identify her. All they had was the name Jennifer Fergate from the hotel registration.
And even that's a little off.
How so?
The registration actually says Fergate, not Fairgate.
Huh. A clerical error or something more deliberate?
It makes you wonder how carefully planned this was, if she was behind it.
And here's another detail that just adds to the mystery. The labels were cut out of her clothes, all except one on a blazer.
Almost like she wanted to erase every trace of herself.
Naturally, the police tried to trace her using the information on the registration, but...
Dead end. The address, phone number, even the company she listed were all fake.
Okay, so we've got a woman who went to great lengths to conceal her identity, found dead under suspicious circumstances. What about her time at the hotel? Did anyone see her?
Well, housekeeping noticed some things.
Like what?
The room was set up for 2 guests, but only one bed seemed to have been used.
So was she alone?
Initially, the reservation was for 1 person, but later it was changed to include a Lois Fairgate.
Lois Fergate. And some staff remember seeing Jennifer with a man.
But no Lois or any man was ever identified.
Okay, so that's strange.
And there's this. Housekeeping remembers a pair of shoes in the room, but they weren't the black heels Jennifer was found wearing.
Okay, now I'm really intrigued. So we have a potential second person, missing shoes, and a woman who seemingly vanished into thin air. This is starting to feel like something out of spy film.
Right.
And it gets even more interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Jennifer made calls from her room. 2 phone numbers?
Both turned out to be wrong numbers.
Wrong numbers.
And get this, the hotel had security cameras, but the footage from around the time of her death, gone.
Wait, the footage is missing. What are the odds?
Right. Adds another layer to the mystery.
Yeah.
And then there's the autopsy report. Cause of death, as we said, gunshot wound. But remember how her hand was clean. Absolutely no gunshot residue. Plus, the bullet's trajectory was downwards, not typical for a self-inflicted wound.
So we have a woman with no ID, missing shoes, and an autopsy that's raising more questions than answers. This is getting complicated.
And just when you think it can't get any stranger.
What? Tell me.
The gun, the one in Jennifer's hand, it had the serial number removed. And not just scratched off, we're talking professionally removed, probably with acid.
Okay, hold on. Now, this is serious. Who goes through all that trouble to make a gun untraceable?
Makes you think, doesn't it? Especially when you remember that the Oslo Plaza was known for hosting some pretty high-level meetings. Some even involved intelligence agencies.
So Jennifer Fergate, a spy? Is that what we're thinking?
It's not out of the realm of possibility. Think about it. The lengths she went to hide her identity, that missing security footage, the untraceable gun. It kind of paints a picture, doesn't it? But even if she wasn't a spy, that missing serial number tells us there's more to this story than meets the eye.
It's a lot to take in. Thankfully, the case didn't just disappear into the cold case files. A Norwegian journalist, Lars Christian Wagner, wouldn't let it go.
He's the one who really dug into this years later and pushed for a closer look at the evidence.
Good for him. So what happened?
Well, because of Lars, Jennifer's body was exhumed back in 2016.
They exhumed her body. Wow.
They were hoping to get DNA and dental records, maybe finally figure out who she was.
Did it work?
They were able to confirm she was of European descent, but no matches in any database. Kind of a setback. But her dental records provided a little something. They indicated she might have lived in Germany up until her mid-teens.
Hold on. Remember that clothing tag, the one that wasn't cut out? Wasn't that from a German manufacturer?
It was. So the German connection is getting stronger. But wait, there's more.
Of course there is.
Lars also took a closer look at those two phone numbers, the ones Jennifer called from her room that were dismissed as wrong numbers.
Yeah, what about them?
They weren't in service when the police initially checked, but Lars found out that they could have been active when Jennifer called them.
So she might have actually been trying to reach someone. Someone who knew her, maybe knew what happened?
It's possible. Like she was trying to leave a trail, but it just went cold too fast.
Do we know anything about who she might have been calling?
Not a clue, unfortunately. But there's another interesting tidbit. Remember Mr. F, the man who checked out of the room across from Jennifer's the morning she died?
Yeah, the one who said the hotel staff told him about Jennifer's death before it even happened.
Well, it turns out Mr. F was from the French-speaking part of Belgium.
Belgium. Okay, now we have possible connections to Germany and Belgium. Did Lars ever find out more about this Mr. F?
He tried, but without a full name, no luck.
Figures.
And here's another frustrating detail. Genetic genealogy, which could have been a huge help, wasn't an option in Jennifer's case. Norway has some pretty strict laws about it.
Ugh, so close yet so far. It feels like we're on the verge of uncovering her identity, but then something blocks the path. But I'm guessing Lars didn't give up.
Not a chance. He managed to create a much more detailed timeline of Jennifer's movements at the hotel. He used keycard data and witness statements, but in doing so, he found a big gap, almost 24 hours where no one knows where she was or what she was doing.
I'm missing 24 hours. That's a lot of unaccounted for time. What do you make of that?
It tells me there's a whole chunk of this story we're missing. What happened during that time? Who did she meet? Where did she go? It's like a missing chapter in a book. Without it, the whole story remains a mystery.
So even with all of Lars's efforts, Jennifer Fergate's identity remains unknown. It's crazy to think that in today's world, with all the technology and forensics we have, a person can just disappear like that.
It really makes you think. It's a reminder that some mysteries just refuse to be solved. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? What if, somewhere out there, someone knows something that could crack this case wide open?
Yeah, it does. It just shows you how many secrets are still out there. What about the rest of Lars's investigation? What else did he uncover?
Well, he found something pretty interesting. Remember the wristwatch Jennifer was wearing when she died?
Yeah.
The watch itself was a dead end, couldn't be traced. But the battery inside, it had an inscription, W395.
A W395.
What is that? Some kind of code?
Could be. Some people think the W might be a German word, adding to that German connection we talked about.
Right, right.
Others think it could be a date, or maybe even refer to a specific event. Without more information, it's impossible to say for sure.
It's like having one tiny piece of a giant puzzle. Frustrating. Were there any other leads, even small ones?
Actually, there was one more thing. They found a fingerprint on a plastic newspaper bag in Jennifer's room. Couldn't identify it at the time.
Okay.
But here's the weird part. The bag had the wrong room number on it.
The wrong room number. That sounds intentional, like someone was trying to mess with the investigation. It's possible. Anyway, they sent the fingerprint to Interpol for analysis, but that was years later.
And
the results were never made public. Another dead end.
It's incredible how this case is full of these twists and turns, yet we still don't know the most basic thing, who Jennifer Fergate was.
It really is a mystery for the ages.
Yeah.
But even with all the dead ends, all the unanswered questions, Lars hasn't given up. He's still working on the case today. He believes that one day we'll finally know who Jennifer Fergate was and what truly happened to her.
That's dedication. Why do you think he's so determined to solve it?
Well, I think it's a few things. There's the desire for justice, obviously, and the challenge of solving such a complex puzzle. But I also think it's because, at the end of the day, Jennifer Fergate was a real person with a life, a story waiting to be told. And Lars wants to make sure that story isn't forgotten.
It really makes you think, what if someone listening right now knows something, anything, that could help shed light on this case? Maybe they crossed paths with Jennifer, or remember a detail that seemed small at the time but could be important now.
Absolutely. If you have any information, no matter how insignificant it might seem, please reach out to the authorities or to Lars directly. Even the smallest detail could be the missing piece that solves this puzzle. You can find his contact information, along with a 3D walkthrough of the hotel room, on our website. We'll also include links to Lars's articles and other resources if you want to learn more.
It's both fascinating and heartbreaking that this woman's identity is still a mystery after all these years. But maybe, just maybe, someone out there holds the key to unlocking the truth about Jennifer Fergate. And with a little help from our amazing deep divers, we might finally get the answers we've been searching for. Thanks for joining us on this incredible journey, and we'll see you next time for another deep dive into the unknown.